Hey guys, my name is Kirsty and welcome to BOOKMAS Day 4. So I hate to be a negative person, but what kind of end of year wrap up BOOKMAS theme would it be if I didn't talk about the 4 books that I read this year that I just didn't like? You know, it's part of the whole reading process. You read books that you love, you read books that you don't love, you read books that you hate. So these are the books that I just didn't like this year for a number of reasons, and I will go through those when I talk about the books. So the first book that I just didn't like this year was Uprooted by Naomi Novik, and there was a lot of hype surrounding this book in the book community, saying that it was this amazing fantasy magic novel, and it intrigued me and I was really kind of excited to read it, and I picked it up, I read it in a few days and I just put it down and I was like, no, I didn't like it. Because the magic element of the book just didn't make sense to me. It seemed very confusing, a bit here and there. Didn't feel like it was explained properly. There was a very abusive relationship in it, which I just couldn't wrap my head around why people were kind of shipping these two characters, because it was just so problematic. It was very abusive and I just didn't like it at all. I couldn't get into the whole romance element of it because it wasn't romance for me. It was just abuse. It wasn't a great read, unfortunately. It just didn't do it for me. It was very problematic. The writing wasn't that great. The storyline wasn't that great. The magic element wasn't that great. So it was just, yeah, I think I gave it like 2 out of 5 stars. And I don't have this book because I received a e-galley of it and it's on my phone, and I'm not gonna just hold my phone up to the camera, but that was All the Ways the World Can End by Abby Sher. This book was, I hate to say awful, but I really did not like it. The storyline was just so minimal and there was just nothing there. I couldn't relate to the characters, I couldn't connect with them at all. The storyline didn't even feel like it existed at times. It just kind of floated, and for me, to be honest, the best bit was the end of the book. Not because it finished, but because that's where things picked up, and I was like, well, why is it picking up at the end? Like, surely that it should be doing that the whole of the way through. But unfortunately, I just really didn't like it. There was this whole kind of romance aspect where the daughter fell in love with her father's doctor, and it was just inappropriate, and I don't know, I really could not get into it. It took me about 3 weeks to read, and it's a contemporary novel, and contemporaries, like, I can read like that. I can read them in a few hours. So when it takes me a few weeks to read a contemporary, you know I'm not enjoying it at all. But no, I felt like DNFing it at like 20%, but I pushed through it, I kept reading it, and I didn't like it, unfortunately. So that is book 2 that I didn't like this year. Book 3 is one that if I couldn't give any stars to, I would, and that is Sad Girls by Lang Leave. I don't have this book, again, because I received it as an e-galley, so again, it's on my phone, but this book was diabolical. It is probably one of the worst books that I have ever read in my entire life, and that's because it's just so problematic. There's so many things wrong with this book that I just couldn't deal with. It was just awful. Like, the mental health rep was damaging and disgusting. There was girl on girl fighting, which was ridiculous because girls are not backstabbing 24/7. Not all girls are like that, and the females in this book were portrayed as these backstabbing people who only look out for themselves and dislike any other girls. Where is the positive female-female friendships and representation? Where is it? Because there was nothing in this book, and it was just awful. I don't even know what to say about it. It was just awful. Every single page was just hard for me to read, and I did push through it. I did push through to the end. I wanted to DNF it at every single page, but I pushed through to the end, and I gave it a 1 out of 5 stars. If I could give it 0, I would, but I gave it a 1. And to be honest, I haven't heard one single positive thing about this book. Like, I haven't read a positive review of it, so it's not just me. There are other people out there that are not liking this book, so at least I'm not the only one. But yeah, definitely Sad Girls by Lang Leave. And the fourth and final book that I read this year that I just didn't like was Carnivalesque by Neil Jordan. Now, if you watched yesterday's video, you'll know that I talked about Carnival by Stephanie Garber and how I'm not really a big fan of circus/carnival themed books. But after enjoying Carnival, I was like, okay, maybe I will start rereading books around this theme and see if the books that I had read that I didn't like was just one-offs. So I read Carnivalesque by Neil Jordan, and I'm pretty sure that my dislike for that theme is still in place, because I didn't understand what the hell was going on the entire way through the book. So it wasn't like I didn't understand the first part of it like I did with Lunar New Moon. I didn't understand any of it. I didn't know what was going on. It was just really poorly written, and one that I was really excited for because of Neil Jordan, because of who he is, because he's a brilliant guy. And I was like, okay, I'm going to read his novel. I read it. I read the e-galley of it, and I didn't like it. I thought it was just... to be honest, I couldn't... The only thing I remember about that book is that this boy goes into this hall of mirrors, and then he gets trapped in the mirror, and then his reflection escapes the mirror, and that is all I remember. I couldn't tell you anything else. The storyline was very flimsy. So those are the 4 books that I didn't like this year. I just feel really bad about being negative about books, and I feel bad because it's Christmas time and it should be a positive time of year, but I had to include them. I feel like I did. And just for a disclaimer, those opinions are my own. I don't mean to offend anyone. I don't mean to upset anyone with those opinions. They are just what I think, and I know that they are very strong opinions, but that's just how I felt about the books. Thanks for watching. So yeah, if you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you've got any comments or questions or feedback, or if you want to tell me what books you didn't like this year, just leave them in the comments box below. And because it's Bookmas, I am posting videos every day up until Christmas Eve. So if you want notifications for when those videos go up, just click on the bell icon below. And yeah, that is all I have left to say. So thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow in my next video. Bye!